Okay, there we go. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday and welcome to Reality Queens. I am Rachel Reilly Villegas.
Hi, I'm Jenn Hoffman, who's joining us.
Hello, sir. And I'm Bobby Goodsby.
Yeah, I think maybe we need to change the name. Now that Bobby's
I'm just happy to be part of it.
We are excited that everyone could join us this morning. We already have some comments. Hannah's saying hi. Hi, Hannah. Hey, Layla. Thank you so much. Are you asking me? Layla said, "Can I use you as my PFP?" Is that a profile picture? Yes, please do. I love the messy profile picture. You know, my favorite thing actually in the world is when I see my face for someone's profile picture and it's like a picture of me with my hot mess shirt or like a picture laughing. You know, the extra candid pictures. Yeah. Those are my favorite photos. I love those so much. So we can get straight to it. Did you guys have a chance to watch the episode last night of Big Brother?
Yes, although they didn't. Everywhere it still says that it's at 9:00 Eastern, except for when you actually even on the just when you Paramount's information for it still says that everything says it. Only when you open the app does it tell you nope. So I missed it last night, but I watched it today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I actually missed it live too because I was traveling yesterday. So I ended up, I couldn't figure out what time it was airing West Coast either. It was very confusing last night. But I think now they're changing the time. So it's going to be like 8:00. Is that correct? 8:00 Eastern?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's because young Sheldon is back or something ridiculous. I'm like, okay.
Oh, I do love young Sheldon. That's a fun show. So last night we will start off with a spoiler. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, then you want to just close your ears. But this aired last night, so it's not really spoilers. All right. So our boy Matt, your boy is gone.
Crazy Eyes.
Crazy Eyes, aka Crazy Eyes. It's funny because I did say on my TikTok live once, I was like, he does have crazy eyes. Like he actually, he was talking in the workout room and his eyes were just like bulging. And I was like, dude, he did look like he had crazy eyes. But I mean, I like him a lot. So I would never refer to him as crazy eyes. And it was just when he was intense in conversation.
Yeah, his eyes do that. But it's only funny because Angela was so out of her mind.
Yes.
That her calling someone else crazy eyes while trying to imitate him and stuff just elevated her craziness so much past. Even if he does have slightly crazy eyes sometimes, it was just like the hilarity of the juxtaposition of her calling him crazy eyes and saying he's crazy while she was acting like the most, I think, unhinged Big Brother cast member in history and the most self-destructive, by far the most self-destructive in history. She's just a Hall of Famer immediately for being the most unhinged, chaotic, nonsensical house guests. Sorry, you guys are house guests ever. If somebody stabs someone on the show, I'd be like, Angela way more unhinged.
So what do we think about that fight?
Yeah, that fight was insane. Like, to watch them, and I feel for Matt, because Matt really, I get where Angela might have thought that he was coming off a little bit threatening, but when you listen to the conversation, he was basically just saying, this is how I feel like I'm going to have to act if you were to have gone after me. He never said, oh, I'm going to do that now. So the fact that she took it that way just was absolutely wild. Like, this is the most unhinged, I agree with you, Jen, most unhinged house guest. I mean, she's literally competing with, Frenchie, and who else? Joey. Like, this is insane for the most insane first week house guest. And I'm really hoping that
she's HOH. She's HOH. People like her. She has all the power, so she's not at risk, so she doesn't need to go ruffling feathers. All she needs to do is smile and, either, especially the first week, apologize like it had to be somebody. And then if she did feel a veiled threat from someone else, it doesn't matter because she's safe and she could share that with her allies rather than thinking about it all night. And then the craziness was showing her all night, like swinging and thinking about it and going nuts. And then going after him. And then when her alliance that she could trust comes to her, she is so paranoid that she has another meltdown, blowing up an entire alliance that she's part of that's protecting her, thinking it's all a ruse designed by him, who leaving everyone baffled.
I'm glad that we got that insight from the diary or from the clip, because I had no idea that she was thinking that it was all a ruse. I assumed that she just like was upset because they were working together and she wasn't in on the conversation. I had no idea she thought that they were like just making that up to come after her. So Matthew said that any smart Big Brother player would have never said that besides Dick. I agree. And Hannah said she didn't
said it on purpose because he doesn't give a shit and he's smart enough to scare people, intimidate people. And like, I've had so many conversations with Dick too. Like, that's just him, and it's part of like who he is, and he's unapologetic and he's aware. Angela is so self-aware and delusional that she thinks that somebody like aggressively threatened her, and then also thinks that when two people who are part of her alliance come to her, she's like, okay. And the second they leave the room, she starts freaking out in a paranoid, oh my God, Matt's part of this. He's part of this collective. He orchestrated this all. They're all coming after me. First of all, even if they were all coming after you, there's not a damn thing they can do because you're head of household right now. Second of all, like even though Dick would like screw you over in a second, like he would have been like, okay, smiled, and then like later like destroyed you. Like he wouldn't, like he would sleep well at night, like not like her up all night waiting to come downstairs like to attack.
Well, she waited. Well, that's what I think is funny. Someone posted this meme. Our friends at Big Brother Live posted this meme for us.
Well, and especially since I think that the fact that Quinn, you already set up an alliance with Quinn, Angela, where this is your number one. He told you about his secret power. So if he's coming in the room to tell you about a big alliance that he wants you to be a part of, obviously this is something you should listen to. Obviously it's not fake. It's just wild to me. It's like the paranoia took over completely in her head. And I honestly think she's going to be out the door this week after that whole situation.
I mean, I hope so. I just personally wouldn't want to play Big Brother with someone like that because she's such a dangerous player to play with, because you could be in an alliance with her and she's going to backstab you for no reason just to make good TV. She'll go against you for no reason. It's like she's not playing to win Big Brother. She's just playing to make television. And those are the most dangerous players.
I wonder if she's trying to make television. I don't even know, because when you're by yourself and you're saying certain things or you're reacting and being big and you are literally like in the middle of the night, I don't know if she's just doing it for the camera time and to make a good show, because they were showing the time and that it was like 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. and she was still talking to herself. And this is like, there are all different levels of stuff and you can't really diagnose anybody. And I actually usually hate diagnosing people because I think that there's people that act all sorts of ways that don't have mental health issues. They just have cameras on them and they freak out. But it almost seems like she may actually have one. And one of the things that really told me that was when, I always want to call him Bruce, but when Kenny told her he wasn't going to go along with her, she went, you've disappointed me. And it was in such a psycho way and such like almost like a narcissistic, like kind of that person who has paranoia, like a narcissistic, like something in there without giving a diagnosis. Like people usually mistake like certain sorts of like antisocially, narcissistic things for people that are so into themselves, or like maybe would have called like Matt one for being pretty. But there is a certain like, if you don't do what I say, a reaction like, you've disappointed me. And also when someone just simply says to you, well, if you come after me, I'm gonna have to come after you, them suddenly having like a whole paranoid, and then exaggerating it and saying that she was, and she, at first I thought she was just saying it to try to make him look bad, that he aggressively threatened her. Then I went, she said it to make him look bad, and then she started really believing it. And that's like a pathology. If you have a thought, or if you decide that you're going to kind of exaggerate something, and then you believe your lie or what you said, that's like a pathology. And I've been noticing the things she says to people all have like the hints of the same kind of like this, if you don't do what I say, like it's like a rage, vengeance, emotional, crazy, like it's very unhinged in an unsettling way, not in a fun way. I love the most unhinged person. I love the craziest player. This is like unsettling.
Yeah, I feel like, so with Angela, okay, this is the tea. So Angela has been trying to get on television for a long time. She was on Dr. Phil. Have you guys seen the clips of her being on Dr. Phil? So she's been on Dr. Phil. So basically what happened is Dr. Phil goes to her house, puts cameras in her house. They film for whatever amount of time. Angela, so apparently Lexi, Angela's daughter, stopped talking to her father at the age of 14 because she was underage drinking. She was illegally drinking a beer. And her dad said, "Hey, look, I'm taking away your cell phone. And if you try to get on your cell phone and break this rule, I'm going to throw your cell phone in the pool." Well, she tried to take away the cell phone, he threw the cell phone in the pool like he said he was going to. Anyways, Angela had been sneaking her a cell phone every single night so that she could go on the cell phone, basically like undermining the dad's authority, basically like going against parenting. That's the thing. When you're a parent, you have to come together as a parent to make decisions.
Part of the pathology, though. Like,
well,
I make the decisions. I'm going to do this. It continues, but continue what you're saying. I'm saying it lines up, like checks out.
So basically what happened was, then the daughter said, "I'm not talking to the father anymore." So from the age of 14 to the age of 20, allegedly, they hadn't talked. Brendan and I have discussed this. I just don't buy that because they live under the same roof. She said she hasn't seen him. She hasn't been in the same room with him. I think it's all for television, frankly. I don't buy that. I'm a parent. I don't buy that you can like have your kid walking around the house and not talk to them, not see them, even if your daughter's ignoring you. I mean, like, where's she getting money? Where's she getting her car?
I'll say I've lived in a circumstance like that, so it is possible.
How? Tell us, explain.
I lived in a household with a very unhinged person, and there were times where that person would also just kind of be in their own world too, but we would kind of be hiding also and avoiding. So it was, you come home as little as you can, you stay at your friend's house as much as you can, and when you can't, you avoid as much as you can. And I have family members who have not spoken to this person in decades or a long time and stuff, and I had to kind of live under it. And it's
But she was wrong for underage drinking with her dad. I mean, like, or with her friend. Like, she was 14 years old. So like, I feel that was a fair
I've so many
away
family court dynamics now, and being part of such a chaotic family myself, and now seeing and reporting on family court and stuff. It seems like, I don't know, this immediately jumps out to me as this type of triangulation. Now, given that we've seen more of Angela, where it's like, your dad caught you doing something, but I want to be the good person, and I want to be the loved person, and I want you to do what I say. So you triangulate, and you create an enemy within the father. You create a hero within the mom. You make it like the daughter didn't do anything really bad, and that the dad is doing something terrible by, that's totally fine what he did, and that he's the enemy, he's evil. And I've seen toxic environments like this. I've experienced them. I report on them now. And given what Angela says and the way she acts, I can see this being real and not just a play for television. Like, just because someone is unhinged and goes on Dr. Phil because they want to be like wanting to be known, and also being truly, honestly, that same person and off, are not mutually exclusive. So you can really want to be famous and also not be playing it up for the cameras.
I completely understand what you're saying, but she also makes TikToks. She's made a TikTok talking about her grandma being at S, and like I'm telling you, it's like literally, I think she's doing it for shock value. It's like everything she does is shock value, and the reason I wouldn't want to play with that person is because again, they're going to be a horrible Big Brother player because they're doing things for shock value. They're doing things to upset people, to elicit emotions. And when you're trying to elicit an emotional response, you're going to be a sloppy, bad Big Brother player. $750,000 is on the line here.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree. Either way, that, it'd be impossible to play with her. And that, it would be a horrible person to align yourself to even play with, whatever. I just think we have total, and that's what's great about like having different people on here to give our different opinions. I totally disagree about like why or what the thing is behind it. Like, you think think it's more like an action for the cameras. I think might be some deep pathology there, but I totally agree with you regardless of those two things that I would never want to play with her, or I would keep her, but I would actually feel ethically not okay keeping her just because of my opinion that she might seriously not be well. Like I'd be like to the producers, like, is this, like something's wrong here, but I wouldn't want to play with her as an ally. But let's say she really is just a little bit off her rocker and is playing it up for TV. Then I would maybe not mind keeping her in the house and just letting her go bananas. So I'm never the target. So I'm not being looked at, because if you have a lunatic in the house throwing things around, as long as you don't depend on her, she's blown up on so many people. Even if she blows up on you, it like doesn't matter.
Well, the thing is, all her alliance members are breaking up with. We call it breaking up with her. They're saying they don't want to work with her anymore because of how unhinged she is in the house. So I think that she is going to have an issue, but then you never know because this game changes week to week. It changes day to day. And like you said, like even with, and Hannah said that the comments were uncalled for and she was like bullying. I agree. I think she was bullying. I think it was uncalled for. But and then Robin said it was like that she was acting like she was on the block, not head of household. Totally agree. Totally agree. But in Big Brother, like you said, is it good? Is it a good game move to keep someone that is, kind of erratic and all over the place because they make, you a less of a target? I don't know. I think we'll see what happens. And Layla, I want you to know we are acknowledging you too, Layla, just in the chat. Layla is saying that she saw me in Traders and that she said that we look very lovely. She said I look lovely, but we all look lovely. Thank you, Layla, for the comments.
I would just like to add to that like I would like to see her psych evaluation, because like the fact that Angela got on TV and she's acting like this, I kind of fall in the middle between you two. I feel like she's definitely probably playing a character, but I do agree with you, Jen, where there's probably some underlining things there that she needs to get checked out, whether she knows it or not. Because some of the things and actions she's doing doesn't seem completely for show. For me, it seems very unhinged behavior and just something that's underlining, like you said. But also, I feel like everything, her paranoia in there, is making her exaggerate the character that she's trying to portray.
Yeah. And she came in like, I'm going to be so fun. And like, that's probably who she tried to be to her daughter too. Like, fun, mom, it's okay. But then I see this other thing. And people, this is the thing about a psych test. If you have a personality disorder, and I can't claim she does have one, however, I'm very familiar with them, especially one that's more like the histrionic or borderline, like you're in that area. And a lot of them have a lot of overlap. You have you experience paranoia, you experience grandiosity, like that, everyone's going to love you. And the second they don't, that fear of abandonment or that fear of betrayal turns into borderline psychotic paranoia. You go for the jugular when someone does something that's not even that upsetting, like talking about someone's mom or saying that you're going to get them. You exaggerate things that have been said to you, and then you actually believe what happened wholeheartedly, where even if they showed her the tape back, she would still think it was aggressive. Or like if there was like a purple cup sitting on a table, or she decided to say someone stole my purple cup as a lie, this is an example of the kind of the kaleidoscope of those personality disorder type things. And someone had just like picked it up and said, "Oh, I'm sorry." It's just the best example I could give. She would say, "Someone took my purple cup, tried to hide doing it, then, said to me, I'm sorry, like in a menacing way, and meant to steal it. And now they're trying to steal all my things. And at first it would be for the attention to blow it up. Then they believe it. And if you played back the video and showed them that's not how it happened, they'd be like, you edited that." Like, I think she might be that. And that's hard to pick up in a psych test. It's very hard to pick up things like that in a psych test.
That makes sense. Oh, Rachel, I think you're muted.
Sorry. I was going to say, I know they're very good about psych tests on Big Brother, and I know they're also very good about mental health. We saw that if a house guest needs to be removed from the show, they're going to remove them. We saw that last season, right? Or 2 seasons ago. So I think that, like, we just need to keep following the story, because she is very, she is making television. That's for sure. She is making television. I just personally wouldn't want to play with her, but I'm just saying, like, not even anything. I don't know anything personally about her, just from how she's acting. I wouldn't want to be in the house with her. So,
right.
So this week, Big Brother got crazy. We have 7,000 competitions this first week. Okay, guys, like, not only did they have this chaotic house meeting, everything, we had 2 competitions for each group of house guests on move-in days. So we talked about those last week, but we had our upgrade and our downgrade competitions. Then we had a HOH competition, and then we had the veto competition, and now we have this AI arena competition,
which is, by the way, not AI really. It's like they could have just had like any of them host it, any of them running around a room with a bunch of televisions, and had just had a graphic designer or somebody else just make like a bunch of images that are moving. So the fact that it's like the AI whatever is hilarious. It's like this is you're just basically like being like tech was involved. But technology
I think that's what they're trying to get. I think it's hard because, again, Big Brother, you can't have AI like you had on The Circle, or even on, Too Hot to Handle, where we have our little robot. Like, it's very gimmicky, which is fine. I like it. I actually, my favorite thing now is this third competition. As a house guest, they are so lucky that they have an arena, because now if they lose HOH, they lose the veto, or they don't get picked to play in a veto and their backdoor plan, they still have a third chance to save themselves and to stay in the house. I am sad Matt went home, but by the same token, I'm like, dude, you had 3 chances. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like,
right.
And I loved the competition because I felt like it was very fair. Like, it was anyone could win it. You just kind of had to pay attention, like, focus your time. I didn't feel like I thought it would be like maybe more physical. So it was very fair. It was a great competition. It was fun. We've never seen a competition like this. I love the games producers this season. They're really stepping it up. So snaps to the games producers.
Yeah, I agree too, because Big Brother has always been this scheme of the biggest threat is going to be somehow almost like Survivor style, like, or Amazing Race style, or anything like a physical, who's physically most threatening and who's the most athletic. And now, even with the spelling bee, even though you had to dip through some water and do whatever, you still have to pay attention to which letters are being knocked out, how to spell a longer word under pressure while doing that. And then the arena was just like being sharp, paying attention, being able to manage multiple things and being quick. And the other challenges, all of them so far have been really very like about more intelligence, sharpness, and like that kind of base. So I wonder, they'll probably mix in some physical stuff, but I really love that the emphasis hasn't been on that now. So it's like, I wonder, unless next episode it suddenly becomes way more physical, if it continues to be like this, then the people that are the threat change for maybe the first time in Big Brother history ever.
1,000%. Yeah. Bobby, what do you think about that?
No, I agree. I think that for me, I really love the spelling competition. Whenever they do that, I always think it's a very good competition to have, especially early in the season. But I love that they changed it this year. We could, substitute letters. And then as far as the competition on on eviction night, I love it. It gives people as many chances as possible. Even the person, there can be no backdoor technically anymore, because technically now that backdoor person has a chance to save themselves. So the backdoor is basically non-existent, which that's the one thing. And I'm kind of upset about that, because we all love a good backdoor, especially when it goes according to plan and no one knows about it.
That's so fun. I've lived for that before. But you still could do it. You still could do it. You could have like your backdoor plan if this person doesn't win. And so like it's you're right. There's less chance to do it now, but it'll be really exciting if things fall sometimes like when there's shocking things that don't fall into plan, it's really fun. And also when somebody has a really devious plan and somehow pulls it off, it's also really fun. So we'll see. And also I totally agree with you about this shoe though, because I always forget Kimo, which is so funny. Because at first I thought his name was Matt in the beginning, so I was getting confused. But I don't know why he looks like a Matt to me also. But also, I've been watching The Bachelor, and there's like 7 people named Sam. I mean, really, I think it's only 2, but it's like Sam M, Sam P. So I'm like, no, everyone finally has a different name on a reality show. The long story short about that is that nobody was counting on him to win. Everybody, despite them saying it's an AI challenge, them saying it's an obstacle course or a push-up contest, everyone was assuming there's no way it was between Kenny and Matt, and that Kimo was out. So when Kimo was announced as the winner and came down the stairs, it was like this hero is welcome, this shock, this like, it just made it like elevated his character status, I feel like, on the show. Yeah. And like I didn't really know him as a character at all, and I almost didn't really care if he won. And then when he won, I actually found myself being like, yes. And I was like, oh, weird. Like I didn't expect to.
I think also because he had such a moment in the diary room where he said, like, he felt when he was nominated, he felt so like took him back to, growing up and being teased for certain different reasons. And I think that like, it's nice to see when someone can kind of go through that story arc where it's like, you're the winner. Congratulations. Like you want to root for them, Yeah. And I think the thing is too, that's interesting is that even though Kimo did not need to win because he was not going home at all, he was not even in risk of it. He still really fought for it because he knew that he's playing Big Brother and that's what he came to do. Oh my God. Yeah. So Matthew said Angela's face after the comp. I was so mad that she made that face. That face made me hate her even more. No, I don't hate her, but I just didn't like that. It made me dislike her. She was so proud of herself.
She's very unlikable, and that's the one thing we always need in reality TV. You need that villain. You need that story arc where this is someone we can root against, someone that we can all collectively be like, okay, this person is a problem. But at the same time, when it crosses boundaries, like I'm looking at Witch's Coven.
I was just looking at that comment too, and the reason why, look, I'll let Bobby continue. Sorry, I was looking at the same thing.
Fine. I was reading it too, and
you brought it up, so like I'm very curious to hear what you have to say because I feel like we might have been thinking the same thing at the same time, kind of.
Yeah, because it's not the fact that Matt talked about his mom first, or even the fact that some people have said much worse stuff on the show. I completely agree with that. It's the context of the situation and the context of what was said. And in that situation, there was no reason to bring up his mom and talk about how he was raised when there was no context of that in the discussion prior or at that moment. So that's where the issue lies with people saying that's why people have a problem with what Angela said, because there was no reason to bring that up. I agree with you. People have said much worse stuff on this show and got away with it completely. But
it's that searching for the thing that she knows is going to upset him the most because she knows that he has that strong bond and that he loves. That is the difference. So if somebody else is just like, you're a loser, you suck, you whatever, that's like shit talk, that's anger. And some people will just say even more outrageous stuff because when they're angry, they flip out or can be. But that is like mining for the thing that is going to hurt you the most and the thing that you also think can publicly embarrass somebody the most. So it's rattling him personally and also at the same time trying to make him seem like some sort of villain. Like, so it's like he cares about his mom, So let me say he's, disappointing her and was not raised right. So let me insult his mother and upset him, which is going to be deeply upsetting to him, while trying to make myself, which she's sorely mistaken. I think that she actually thinks that she was convincing people that he's this horrible person who was raised wrong. And by pointing it out and digging into him, she's going to get him to explode, because it seems like she's in an environment like that in her own household where those big digs or doing those things, or somehow environmentally she has learned to zero in on the thing that would hurt person the most, but expects a big reaction and then keeps needling. Same thing happened with Kenny when she was like, you disappoint me. And she said, you're not standing up for yourself. You don't care about this game. Like, then she started to needle into him even more and more, almost like trying to say he's a wimp and doesn't deserve to play, because Kenny had said that he might, not want to fight hard against Matt because he cares about him. The angrier she got, the more personal she got. And it's not about what she says. It's exactly what you said. It's the context. It's too much too large of a response
for the situation
into what happened. And it's intentionally trying to be cruel and undermining of not only your own mental game, but of you as a person.
Rachel,
if you are not a good person.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously didn't like that. Like, I just feel like she was saying it to 100%. Like, she's been trying to say it to get under his skin and get him to explode. And that's what she thought that would cause a big reaction. But what it really did was just like, he took it in, he didn't say anything. And then he went in the other room and cried. And I think that was like, that makes me understand Matt's like vulnerability, and it made me feel like it was such a more of a human response, because instead of fighting back with her, instead of saying like whatever he could have said, I think that he really took that to heart and said like, I just think it's really unfair. And then I think it was, the way he responded was very fair. Like, I felt like it was very mature of him. And so that's why I am really sad that he went home. Like, I am really disappointed, because not only did I love the MJ Matt storyline, I love a good showmance, but like, I also love that Matt he really was a different character that we have not seen. And I know that, like, I don't feel like people understood that, but like, he wasn't just like the bros bro. He wasn't just like the dude bro. He was actually like, he wanted to work with the girls. He wanted to tell a story about he's like, loved his mom so much, and he wanted to like share that story. And he wanted to like relate to other people through that. And I think that was his driving passion for this. So I think that that's nice. It's refreshing to see someone with that kind of like driving passion for why they want to be on the show.
You know what's unfortunate and also ironic is that they've been making mistakes in Big Brother by not getting rid of like the strongest player for a few seasons in a row. So they're like, no, we're finally going to do it right. Of course, you get rid of the threat first. But the irony is that he might not have been the threat at all. He didn't win any of the challenges.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's not smart, because I don't know, but these are seeming to be intellectual challenges, speed challenges. So it's like Big Brother finally gets it together and eliminates somebody who would be a threat first. But the game might be this completely different game, or they might have eliminated somebody who really wasn't a threat and who could have, been part of a showmance and been a threat because he has that, but not like this physical gonna win every challenge, get rid of that dude first threat. So it's like, this to me has been so interesting, because nothing is what you expect. Not in the way Julie Chen meant it. I felt like Julie Chen meant it like, because AI is here, but it ended up being like the assumptions people are making, and because people are like, no, we're going to do this right. You're going to get rid of the threat. You're going to get rid of the brawn and the muscles, and the guy like that who usually ends up winning in the end because you think we'll get rid of him later or you're scared of him. And then I'm like, what if this whole thing has nothing to do with anything he was good at, and it's like a totally different Big Brother? And then, like, ironically, finally, because don't you always scream when they don't get at the person they should, the biggest threat?
I mean, I always do, but like, I don't feel like I would have voted out Matt this week either, because I don't think he was a big threat to any of their games. And I didn't see him as someone that is going to make it and just keep going and keep going and keep going. I actually saw him as someone who would continuously be a target. So in my opinion, I think getting out Kenny would have been a smarter move, because I don't think anyone has eyes on Kenny. And this season seems like it's going to be very social, as opposed to like more, like you said, more physical, more this, that, and the other thing. It feels like Kenny is going to be able to now, like, I hate to say, but he already reminds me of a floater. So it seems like Kenny's going to need a life vest.
100% agree, though, that the bigger threat there was Kenny.
Yeah.
And Matt was going to be in his little showmance, and maybe would have lasted longer because they're part of the 3 people, or the throwmance, or whatever, the 3 of them. And there's people who like him, but I just don't see him as like this mastermind that gets to the end. So I would see him being like in a final 5 or 4.
Of course.
But like,
I think I see him pre-jury, to be honest, no matter what. But I think that he was not. I think them not getting rid of Kenny was actually the mistake. So,
I respectfully disagree with you guys. So I think that they made the right move. I think when you think about what Matt brings to the table, he's strong, he's athletic, he's tall, he's the biggest guy in the house. But on top of all that stuff, you saw what he was able to do in this episode with bring people together and bring basically all the hot, cool people together to form an alliance. And that's really scary. Even though it didn't pan out, the fact that he has the ability to try to do that and to try to make this into an alliance or make it into a thing, it's threatening. So I understand why they would want to get rid of it.
Kind of didn't succeed. Like the first alliance was literally kind of like Quinn and maybe more of a few other people's doing. Then this one he tried to make was the funniest thing ever, when he needed a barbershop and they cheered on BS. I was like, bullshit. I was like, oh my God, no one's doing this. I was like, he does not see what's coming. That gave me my first hint, even though it's like live, so they don't know. But somehow, just when things are so hilariously like accidentally, or he doesn't realize, like when they made it at the barbershop and he was like, let's cheer on BS or whatever. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
like,
I know. I love
the
that.
universe is so perfect that this alliance, I guarantee, has to be BS now. There's no way.
And I get that, and I totally understand. I feel like the fact that he is able to at least attempt that and to be able to put that forward and get that many people in a room to at least all pretend like they agree on it, I think in their minds, that's a threat because, 1, he's already the biggest target, and 2, why would they want to keep someone who's capable of this and maybe gets people who feel like they're on the outs? It might not be them. It might not be this alliance, but there might be that situation in the future. And that's why I think that he came off very threatening in that way, even though I think also on top of it all, he's a very likable person. He seems like a really good dude.
Yeah.
And so with all those things combined, I think the house guests made the right decision that they had to get rid of this guy because of all those underlining factors. But I agree with everything you guys said. I just feel like it was a smart move for now. Whatever, if it wasn't the right move to make, at least they made it and he's out of there and they don't have to worry about those situations.
I agreed at the time. When they did vote him out, I thought, oh my God, they finally did the right thing. They finally eliminated, one of the biggest threats first, the social game, the showmance, the physical strength, good looking, charming. I 100% thought that. I was like, okay, they did their job. Like they understood the assignment. But then I thought about it, and then just kind of watched Bruce like a little bit out. I keep calling, he just looks like a Bruce, not just because he like has the Bruce Willis vibes, but he looks like a Bruce. Kenneth is Bruce to me. He doesn't look like a Kenneth, he looks like a Bruce. But when there was just something after it that I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I just feel like, even though I saw that you had Matthew's comment up, but that he was ready to give up, so you keep him over a potential threat, I just think that maybe he was showing more emotion, but that also shows me that maybe he will have more emotional connections than we think, than just being a floater, like be able to get closer to other people too. I don't know. I totally agreed. I was like, oh my God, they understood the assignment. They got rid of the threat. Yeah. And then I had a weird afterthought of like, I don't know, maybe I would have gotten rid of Bruce if it were actually me there, because something about it makes me think he's one of those people that goes really far that they don't expect. But I totally agree with you, Bobby. Like that's like if you were playing like a good technical game and a Big Brother fan forever, you'd and you didn't oust him, you would be like in baseball, like an unforced error. It'd be like an unforced error. But like, I don't know.
Well, that brings up a good point about Big Brother. Okay. So Big Brother is a game where you're completely locked away, right? We don't have access to pens, to paper, to cell phones, obviously, computers, nothing. Like, we don't know anything, including the news. So here's Julie talking a little bit with the New York Post about what's been going on in the news and if she should share it with the house guests.
Right. But if, God forbid, something this season, right now, no. Right. But if, God forbid, something huge happens, are we gonna do that this season? Right now, no. Right. But if, God forbid, something huge happens where we have to, then yes.
Yeah. Like you said with the 9/11 stuff, like these people in this house are also probably the last ones in the world to know about what's going on with Trump, Biden, Kamala. It's crazy to think about.
Right. Oh my gosh, Eric, you're right. These people don't know that Biden has stepped down from running.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I think they were, correct me if I'm wrong, they were in sequester before the assassination attempt, I believe. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was a Saturday. I think they were already sequestered. Yeah. But I'm so glad you brought that up, because I'm going to bring it up to my producer tonight and say, like, evicted house guest tonight goes out back in the real world. Can we be the one to tell them?
So forgive my bad editing, but like, I think that brings up such a good point. Like, these house guests don't know that there was an assassination on Trump. They don't know that Joe Biden has stepped down, that Kamala is going to be the presidential nominee.
First of all, if you didn't know that Joe Biden was stepping down since 2020, then you weren't paying attention to the exact plan that they had. Second, you don't want them all just talking about politics in the house. So it's not like a 9/11 where people's relatives died and we're at war now. So it's like, I don't think that they have to tell them, because if they do, the entire freaking house is just going to argue over Trump versus Biden. Was Biden too old? Trump is just as old. Like, I think it devolves into a political discussion. So like, if Trump was actually killed or something like that, maybe that's very different. But him stepping down seemed inevitable. I mean, I just never thought they were planning on running him in the first place. I've said it publicly. I've said it since he won in 2020. I was like, well, he's not going to be the nominee in 2024. That's, I've been saying that since like the day he won. But like, that's not like life earth shattering. Like, you need to make a phone call home and make sure people are okay news. That's like fun, weird, you've been in a coma news, like when they come out,
Well, I would disagree, because I think reality TV in general is part of this time capsule of history. We watch reality shows and we learn about what was going on at the time through reality shows. I mean, we don't learn, like, like when you watch them back, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was like from the fashion to the news to whatever's going on. And Big Brother especially is a time capsule. And I think that when they announced Trump running for president, or had won in BBOTT, that was something that they needed to tell the house guests. So like, I feel, and it was really interesting to see their reactions from not being out of the outside world. And I understand what you're saying. You don't want the house guests talking about politics, but by the same token, I think that the politics are part of this experience that we're watching live happen with these people, that reality TV it is such a, like, I don't know. It's something like about watching Big Brother, and every year there's something about, like, through the history that we see unfolding in Big Brother. It's just like a very unique experience.
Here's the thing. If Biden had stepped down as president right now and was no longer president, and they you can like invoke the 25th, like someone's not competent, and then Kamala would have been president, then you tell people you have a different president. But right now, all that's happened is that he's withdrawn from being the nominee. But even though he has said it, the DNC hasn't happened yet. Kamala's not officially running. Right. Like, there's nothing really official. It's like, if Trump had been killed, that is a big news thing. If an election happens during it, they know there's an election. They're going to want to know who won. But somehow this news to me of just Biden has decided to say he's not going to be the nominee. It's probably Kamala. We don't know what's going to happen. Just makes them all talk about it and speculate and nothing else. But he may step down and they may name her. So she's 47. So she's already president before the election and running as the incumbent. That is possible. And if something like that happens, you got to tell the House guests, like, we have a new president, like that's, so I'm agreeing with you about the time capsule thing. I'm not sure this, even though it's this big deal, it's the whole news cycle. I'm not sure this is life changing enough because it was so like expected and people were already demanding it and talking about it in the news since before they even sequestered. There are people calling for him to be stepped down, or to see, saying that at the debate he could barely talk. So I just don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze of telling them right now, because all they're going to do is speculate.
Right. I mean, I agree with you that they should wait until after the national committee, until she's named the, candidate for moving forward. Yeah. And if she was actually, she did become president, then yeah, I think they have to tell them.
I agree.
But I don't know. What do you think, Bobby?
Well, they'll be out of the House by then. By the time the election comes around, they won't be there, correct? Because it's 100 days, like
November. October 13th is the finale.
Yeah, so they'll be out of the House before November. So the main thing for me is, I've got a bunch of points on this. Sorry. So one, they've got a bunch of 20-something-year-olds in the House who probably don't really care about politics as much. Now, I'm not saying they don't completely. I'm just saying, given the age range of most of these people, and this does skew to an older cast, but in my opinion, but I still think that majority of them, it wouldn't really be a huge factor to them. Second, oh man, what was I going to say? Second off, I love Julie Chen. Don't get me wrong. She's the Chen bot. She's awesome. But at the same time, this kind of just shows that she doesn't know a lot about the show going on, that she's just kind of a talking head. Like, if it was Arissa Cox from Big Brother Canada, she would be all about, we need to tell them all this stuff. But you could tell it didn't even dawn on her, even the fact of when they went into the House. So that's the one problem I have, is you don't have a host that is necessarily over confident in watching the show. And then lastly, oh my gosh, I just lost it. I'll come back to me, but there was a third point I wanted to make that involved politics in the House. And go ahead and talk. It'll come back to me. I'll let you know when it hits me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's interesting because I think that just the fact that there's so much going on today, even like Hannah brought up, the Paris Olympics are starting today. I wanted to talk about that too, Hannah, BTW.
Oh, so I remember before I lose it. So the fact is, they have a precedence for this in the House, where they've had in the past, they'll tell them, hey, guess who's in the Super Bowl, or guess who's in this? Can you guess this? So there's a precedence for them letting information into the House in the past for House guests. So the fact is that they could do this at some point. And given the situation, I agree with Jen. If it was Trump being assassinated, if it was who actually is going to be the actual president, those are big situations that I feel like they need to tell them. I feel like 9/11 is a terrible representation of what to tell these House guests and what's crucial information to tell them. That was a national tragedy that thousands of, tens of thousands of people died. Like, and most of these people actually had, relatives in the situation. So I think, given the circumstances, this isn't something necessarily that needs to be brought up, unless they want to do a little gimmick like they've done in the past, where like, oh, guess who's going to be the presidential nominees? Can you guess? Stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. It's too confusing, because if it's guess who's going to be the presidential nominees, it's like, wait, well, what happened? And then did he step to, and why? And it was because of this. And then he had, it's like, it's so convoluted and a little bit confusing. And then no one's been really named, and nothing major has happened except for something that like people were kind of calling for. So like, that's what, and I agree. The 9/11 thing is just like, that's a non-negotiable. That's a life-changing, country changing, historical changing type of thing. But, like if Biden were to be replaced by Harris before the end of this term, while they're in the House, that's something that they should be told. If there is, if they decide to tell them that she's the nominee and they want to play guess who the VP is or something, like, that's kind of, I don't even know if we know any of the people that are being floated about that. But it's complicated with the politics, not only because you don't want just people talking about politics the whole time, but just because right now it's just convoluted. Like it'd be like there's a story, but there's also like so much speculation. And you're right, they might not even care, but it's like, I don't know.
I just think it's interesting that we see so many things. I feel like Jenn and we've talked about this before. So many things unfold in the world through the eyes of reality TV, and like through what's going on in the world, and like even like COVID stuff. Like we're never going to forget watching these 90 Day Fiance people with their cell phones at home recording because of COVID, self-recording 90 Day Fiance. I mean, I won't. But like the Big Brother happened during COVID, and just like everything that's happened through how it's changed, you know, in our timeline, in the country, in the pop culture. I just think it's interesting. I hope that they get a little bit of news, even if they wait or do it like gimmicky like that. I hope they get some information. But speaking of news, did you watch Love Island finale?
I did.
Yeah.
I'm not a Love Island guy, but you guys go ahead and you discuss.
Yeah. So Time Magazine said Love Island will make you believe in love again. And it's so true. So they had such a cute finale. Here's our 4 couples.
How funny that Aaron and Kaylor weren't in it. That cracks me up.
I know.
I wish they had a write-in ballot and people could have written in Aaron and Rob.
How, oh my God, Aaron and Rob. That was my favorite showmance of the season.
Yeah, me too. I absolutely wish they could have had a write-in, or that they would have, as a joke, included that and made that real. But I know they couldn't because everyone would have voted for that and it would have screwed everything up. If they gave that option, I guarantee you everyone would have been like laughing so hard they would have voted for it.
Yeah, so Bobby, they were these two they had a bromance, and they were like, I can't wait to meet your mom. I can't wait to meet your family. Like, we're doing Thanksgiving. It was the funniest thing. It was really cute. I'm really sad that Kaylor wasn't in the finale because I felt like she was such a big part of the season. And I don't understand why I've read comments when I talk about this on TikTok and stuff. People are like, because he is such a blah, 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 Casa Amor, Rachel. And I'm like, I get it. But he apologized so many times for Casa Amor. So like, calm down, folks.
And
it's a game show.
The show was to explore to see if this is your correct person.
That was your person.
So there was just a misunderstanding. Like, just because someone said, I'm starting to have feelings of love for you, which is what he said. The exact quote that Aaron gave to Kaylor before leaving for Casa Amor was, I'm starting to have feelings of love for you. Then all of his friends were like, test it. The premise of the show is you get tempted to test it, and you should see if you have chemistry with someone else. Because suddenly you have more chemistry with someone else, like you kiss someone else and have more chemistry, then like, oh shit, that first thing wasn't real. It was just because we're stuck on an island in a house together, or maybe it's just infatuation or attraction. Yeah. And that's like really discovering it through that. Like, I do believe in that. But what was creepy as fuck was him doing the handshake with Daniela that he did with Kaylor, and also the same shower thing, like asking the second girl that he was tempted by to do the same things that he did with someone who he was telling that he had love for, and essentially to say that was so creepy that I was like, I could not get that part out of my head. I didn't care that he kissed Daniela. I don't care that he get tempted by somebody else who his best romancy buddy ended up kind of dating anyway. You know, he came back by himself for Kaylor. He's apologized a million times. There was something very creepy. Like, you know, when you find out, like, if you ever have, at least I have, that a guy has said the exact same words to another girl, like at the same time.
Yeah, it's like, it's gross.
Done the same playbook, and you're like, oh God, creepy.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Yeah.
I know. I agree. I hate that he did that, but I do think Kaylor and Aaron last in the real world. I think I see them together. I feel like they're going to give it a shot. I don't know if they'll get married or
they
anything,
still are together
together as of so the finale. Okay, so they're going to have a reunion show dropping on August 19th on Peacock. So this also talks about how Cordell and Serena had the option to pick to split the money or to take the money. They decided to split the money, which I thought was really great. Also shows what kind of bond and relationship that they formed.
And he also hooked up with someone in Casa and took the girl back with him.
Right, of course. But and
Aaron
so I
did
think
the same thing and then didn't even bring the girl back. I was like, no, I still choose you, Kaylor. And Cordell came back from Casa, not only tempted, but brought the girl back as his new partner.
Yeah. But I think that the reason that they were different was because of I think the emotional maturity seemed a little bit different with them versus Kaylor and Aaron.
And it's also the way that she was treating him at first. Because remember, she was clowning him and kind of saying, oh, just a friend. She was kind of friend zoning him. And then they just were starting to he was really trying to win her over. And then I think even though Kendall got shit on a lot for being like, go, 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 my boy, when Cordell started hooking up with the other girl, Kendall should not have gotten shit for that, even though he was very good friends with Serena, because Serena was kind of toying with Cordell, leading him on, saying that he was more like a friend. She wasn't sure she's attracted to him. So, yeah, they were in a couple, but all of a sudden Cordell's getting attention from a girl who's like, you're so hot. I really want you. I really like you.
She did not like that.
Yeah, so Kendall, but Kendall they were mad at Kendall for cheering on Cordell finally finding a girl that was super into him, making it obvious. And I'm like, and then people at home were kind of upset with that. The girls were very upset with it. But I was like, but it makes sense because, Serena didn't really snap to it and realize that she really was in love with Cordell until he was at risk of going with this other girl who actually really liked him and wasn't telling people. But
isn't that how love works?
Yeah.
You got it. And that's part of the Love Island experience, because you see your person going with someone else or someone else grabs them and you're like, wait a second. I don't like that. And I think that that's why we love Love Island. I love that they split the money. I thought that was great. I can't wait for the reunion, August 19th. I think it's going to be, I'm really excited to see who's going to last and who's going to be, what they're going to be saying to each other, because I hear everyone's going.
I hope Serena and Cordell do last. I feel like they even look sometimes like brother and sister. So I'm a little like, whoa. Get a little matching nose rings. And then they'll be the fact the first day they were wearing this matching green that a color who wears, not that nobody wears green, but that specific green they both were wearing was both a little bit off color greens. And then they just, you're right. And it is very much especially with the girl, when the girl's way too into the guy's a little eh. But this was one of those, the guy was more into the girl and she needed to see that he is a wanted, girls want this guy in order for her to be like, no, wait. You're not just my friend. I want you. You're mine.
That's how Love Island works. But that's also going on the Bachelorette too. Speaking of Bachelorette, because I am living for the Bachelorette this season too. And I feel like she is the guys are so chaotic. It's just amazing. It's
this is the best. So I usually get so bored by The Bachelor and I can't watch it. This is the best season I've ever seen.
It's so
the guys are chaotic. The guys are arguing and freaking out. And then my other favorite thing is, so it's become affirmations for me. And I was laughing to myself in bed the other day because I started to fall asleep while watching it. And all I heard was, Jenn is worth it. Jenn is, I want to be Jenn. Jenn is so special. Jenn is should be deserving all the attention. Jenn, and they all say it more than I've ever heard. More than in my life have I ever heard.
Never.
And then it's my name. So I was drifting off to sleep and it was I was hearing a recording of affirmations of
that's great.
Almost 24 men saying about how Jenn is worth it. Jenn deserves the attention. Jenn is the center of the show. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I need to make TikToks with just their stuff and be I'm sitting with my affirmations, guys, and have it really just be the voices of all the guys on The Bachelorette talking about Jenn. Because I was thinking, am I just noticing it because it's my name? And then I was like, no. And then I went and backed up and watched the season that Adam before it and of same Bachelorette. So it wouldn't be The Bachelor. And they were not mentioning the girl's name in every 5 seconds the same way they are right now. So it's not just me with my name. I'm like, this is hilarious. And the men are all this is messy drama, fighting with each other. They hate Devin more than they even like her. I think Sam, one of the Sams, what I was saying is Brazilian or whatever. The one who's
literally 3 Sams.
The one who she's really attracted to.
Yeah. The Sam. Is it Sam A? I can't remember the last name.
I think he's shady as fuck, and that I don't know. I just feel he's coming across as kind of the one for her, and I'm there's something that pit in my stomach where I'm like, at first I thought Devin was kind of like evil like that. And then I was like, I think Devin might just be like a goofy guy who just really wants attention. And then my pit of my stomach started to be like, psycho about the Sam that she's really attracted to. And they're hinting at it because they had the Australian girls be careful for the one you're really attracted to, because that's who I picked and it was a mistake. And he turned out not to be who I thought he was. Like, I don't know. I feel like they're giving hints that he's going to turn out to be,
well, I'm thinking it happens on the show. I don't know, but like I'm thinking it happens toward the end of the show because I think he is her front runner right now. Hannah Horn has asked a million times, what does my shirt say? So it says, in this family, no one fights alone. My poppy, it's for my poppy's kidney cancer, and it's we all have matching shirts. So I'm wearing mine today to support. So there are some really cool, and you guys have to keep up with The Bachelorette. We'll talk about it next week more, because it is really good. So we should definitely
talk about that.
We'll block that in.
Yeah, I didn't expect to talk about that and got super excited because to be honest, have never really liked that show. I've never been the biggest fan. And for some reason, I gave it a chance, and I'm like, I've watched seasons and halfway through just fell off. Like I don't care what these people do.
Sorry, I think I got kicked out of the studio.
Oh yeah, you did. But I like the Golden Bachelor, and then this one has been like my favorite.
I can't wait. Yeah, I agree. I can't wait for the.
When it comes to love reality shows, 90 Day not 90 Day Fiance. I used to watch that. When Love Is Blind is on, I'm your guy.
Oh yeah,
other than that,
I like
competition reality.
Okay. Yeah. Well, speaking of dating shows, they're casting a show for couples that have cheated, and this is on cheating.castingcrane.com. I don't know if you want to. I don't know why. Like, if you're cheating, maybe they're gonna help you to overcome that. Not sure how that's gonna work. So if you and your sisters are single and looking for love, this one sounds really cute. It's at casting at rainbowheadproductions.com. They're looking for 3 to 4 siblings, obviously over 21, that want to date together. So maybe you and 3 of your sisters are single in your 20s. They're looking all nationwide for this. I think that would be super cute.
Is it like dating
related?
No, not dating and related. It's not. It's dating. So, like, if you and your sisters judge each other's partners, like, are you single? I think it's more of a docu-follow. It sounds like from reading the casting breakdown, it sounds like it's more of a docu-follow than an actual like competition show. So I think it's gonna be like, do you all want to start dating? Are you gonna like hook your sister up with someone? We want to hear the feedback. It sounds like Kardashian-esque. I love it. I'm all about that life.
I thought it was MILF Manor there for a second.
No, God, no.
Like, what's going on here?
Okay, how that got season 2, I'm not sure. And also, that was predicted on 30 Rock. Do you remember on 30
Rock? Yes. I was dying. I was like, oh my God. It's like how usually The Simpsons predicts everything correctly. The fact that 30 Rock totally like made fun of that as a con. Yes.
It was amazing.
I love it. It's trash TV, but it's great.
Yeah, trash TV is often the best.
Yeah. So a major streamer is looking for talk show, interactive comedy talk show. If you're unfiltered and unafraid to speak your mind, comedy talk show casting.castingcrane.com. I have no idea anything about this. This is just what the breakdown was. So apply if you are unfiltered and you like comedy. If you're funny, if you're a funny person. And then women. Oh, that one I wasn't going to show you that one, but
wait, why aren't you showing that one?
Oh, I don't know. It's women in New York who use Nexa. I don't know what this is.
It's looking for 3 women if you're 18 to 40, operating steps of life. Yeah. Now, next explanation is birth control. Oh, okay, never mind. I was like, I'm a New York City woman. That's fine. But then I'm like, oh, it's somebody who uses specific product. So
it's like a specific. It's like I don't know what it is. So ignore that. We'll edit that part out. No, I don't know what that one was. Those are just like the casting breakdown. So Billy L is in the comments. Hannah's in the comments. Layla's in the comments. Matthew, we appreciate all of you for joining us today in the comments. I am married to Rachel Reilly. Yes, I love that name. Robin's in the comments today. We have Judy was in the comments. So thank you everyone for being in the comments and leaving so many great feedback for us. This was such a fun discussion and we love and appreciate you all. We will be back on next Thursday at our regular time. I was traveling yesterday and it was just a mess, but I also like covering the live evictions. So maybe, I don't know, we'll do twice a week. We'll do some pop-ups. I'm not really sure. We'll figure it out and we'll get back to you.
We might be rearranging some stuff because I liked it, because if you're lift up this cliffhanger on Thursday, it's kind of more fun to talk about what happened on Friday.
Yeah, it is.
So
it's nice to talk about what happens Friday morning because Thursday night's our big eviction night. And we're the only team covering Big Brother right now. So, and we can cover the Bachelorette. So Bachelorette's Mondays, but I don't want to wait till Monday to talk about Big Brother.
No, me neither.
We might be doing interviews. So with the evicted house guests, those aren't till Mondays.
I think we should talk about our Bachelor schedule amongst ourselves with our new voice of reason, Bobby.
Yes.
And,
you guys might have to, force me. My wife watches the show, but you might have to force me to watch it. But I'll do it for the content. I'll do it.
Well, even for Big Brother, like let's figure something out, because I feel like it's like I want to kind of keep up with it a little more. Although it's hard to watch something 3 days a week, and there's live feeds, and there's this, and there's that. So it's like, let's figure out the day we want to talk about it or what we're going to do. But like Bobby, I realize is our official. We've been blessed with a voice of reason.
Well,
yeah, I love that.
As a former live feed correspondent on RHAP, I used to be consumed in this. Now I have a child and a wife, so it takes up more of my time, which thank God I needed it. But I still watch enough of this show that I can at least be the one to talk about it. Also, I do want to plug one thing. I'm going to be starting my own Twitch channel that after episodes, usually late night, I'll be going live to talk about the episode just on my own, and then also probably throw in some guests. Brent said he might come on and hang out with us a couple times, who knows. And also talk about the live feeds. We can watch the live feeds at the same time. So I don't have it up and running yet, but hopefully by the next time you see me, we can I'll be able to give you guys that information.
Nice.
Perfect. And we'll do Brent's gonna come on here too one day, I think.
Yes, yeah. He said he would. He said he would guarantee us that
he owes me. I told him he owes me, so I feel like he needs to come on. And we're gonna get some more clips up for you guys so that you can watch on, the shortened version of this when we have some good fun moments and all that stuff. Well, we will see you next week and popping up doing some live feed correspondent stuff. But thanks everyone for joining today.
Bye.
All right, bye guys.